I'm Dr. Deb Butler, and you are listening to Thinner Peace in Menopause and Beyond. This is episode number 447. Welcome to Thinner Peace in Menopause and Beyond. This is Dr. Deb Butler, Master Life and Weight Coach, and as always, your coach. If you're a woman and you're smart and you're successful and you've been struggling with weight your whole life, and now menopause is making it harder than ever, and you are ready to make this the last time you ever have to go on a diet again, then this podcast is for you. Stay tuned. Well, hello, all my dear friends all over the world. And of course, I do mean all over the world. And it tickles me to death every single time I say that. And I just started working, or I'm going to work with a new client all the way in Sydney, Australia. What a miracle Zoom is. What a miracle that I can do that. And what a miracle that what I say resonates with her halfway around the world. I never knew when I first started this podcast almost 6 years ago that anybody would be interested in what I had to say about my experiences in menopause and trying to lose weight. And it warms my heart to know that 6 years later, so many of you have gotten so much from my podcast. Seriously warms my heart. And today, what I want to talk about is I had a client that I worked with, just finished working with her maybe 3 weeks ago. And we did a podcast together. Her name is Michelle. And that podcast is number 444. So if you want to go back and hear it after you hear what I have to say about it, you would go to drbutler.com/444, and you can re-listen to that interview that I did with Michelle because it has everything to do with the podcast that I'm doing today. So one of the big things that Michelle and I talked about was that what she wanted to do more than anything with me is that she wanted to have peace with food. That's really what she wanted. And she had maybe 6 pounds to lose, 6 to 8 pounds. And I know some of you have a lot more. And I know some of you really don't have any. It's amazing the burden that we carry about our bodies and food, that irregardless of the number on the scale of what it does to our brains. So with her, she was frightened, to say the least. And you can hear this on the interview, that the 6 to 8 pounds wasn't the problem, but the fear that it would go up because she felt like she could not control herself around food is really why she hired me. And what she experienced after working with me and what she was talking about and what we worked on the most. And that's the beautiful thing of individual coaching, is that it's very customized to the person. So for her, what we did more than anything was work with the idea of joy eating. And for those of you, if you don't know my 4 types of eating, they are joy eating. And joy eating is eating a non-nutritious food that you like. And I'm going to say love, but I'm going to talk to you about that loving thing in a minute. And eat it bite by bite and stop the minute that you're done. It's becoming very mindful about a food that really doesn't do anything for your body other than light up your brain and tell you it wants more. That's all it does. But it does taste good. And I teach very much when I talk about the types of eating, how to manage a joy eat. So instead of saying you can never eat something that has no nutritious value ever again in your whole life, which is really what you tell yourself every time you eat one of these foods, is this is the last time. I want you, and I want to teach you how to, of course you can eat these foods. Of course you can enjoy them. You don't want to eat them all day long. You wouldn't want to eat them all day long if you knew you could eat them sometimes. And that's the thing. It's like we have this all or nothing thing around food. I'll never do that again. This is my last time. I'm starting fresh tomorrow. Monday's my day. You know the drill. I know the drill. I don't do that drill anymore. I teach you how to stop that drill by number one, being able to make peace with food by enjoying one of these non-nutritious foods, but being able to stop the minute you're through enjoying it and move on and know that you can eat it again. So that's joy eating. And that's the main thing that Michelle and I worked on, was how to handle those foods. And what she would say is that she really didn't have a problem eating between the twos. And for those of you who may not have heard this often, eating between the twos means that I give you a physical hunger scale from a -10 to a +10. And eating between the twos means starting at a -2, which is just the whisper of hunger, and stopping at a +2, which is a whisper of fullness and satisfaction. Eating between the twos is probably one way that you would never, ever have a weight problem again if you just learned how to eat between the twos. Now, we talk much more about what you eat, and you know what to eat. Most people know what their nutritious foods are or what their fuel foods are, which is another type of eating, which is fuel eating, which is what you do most of the time, 80% of the time. And when you know that you can have one of these non-nutritious foods sometimes, most people that I work with want to be eating fuel foods most of the time, just not all the time. So working in these two groups can change dramatically your relationship with food. And the other two types of eating are fog eating, meaning that if you're fuel eating or joy eating and you eat beyond enjoyment or you eat beyond a +2, that is called fog eating. Fog eating causes a lot of problems. And when I'm working with you individually or in a group, which I'll talk to you about in a minute too, I teach you how to handle those urges around wanting to overeat something or over enjoy something, because all of that can be managed by your brain. But you have to be taught, because you taught yourself something different from years of dieting and restricting and depriving. And when we start working, especially when you're going through menopause, which means your brain is more malleable, which means that it's much more difficult to lose weight than it used to be, which actually is a good thing because you don't want to keep repeating the same behavior. And for the first 30 years of my life, it didn't mean that much to me to go up and down in weight because I always knew I could take it off. But boy, I hit menopause, a rude awakening. And I know it is that way for you too. But here's the truth. Don't you just kind of want to weigh the same all the time when you get on the scale within 1 or 2 pounds, without restricting, without depriving, without being scared to death of the scale, without being scared to get on or excited to get off, more neutral or more equanimous, which is a Buddhist term that I love to use. And it's the same thing with food. All of that comes when you are more peaceful around food. So back to my story about Michelle, the thing that she wanted to work on the most was joy eating, because that's where she felt she had the most amount of problems and the least amount of control. And chocolate was what she said she, quote unquote, loved. So first of all, what I said to her, and I'm going to say to all of you, it's better not to love a food. I think it's great to love your partners, your children, your grandchildren, people. But watch where you use that word, because when you say, like I used to say about potato chips, I love potato chips, you know, my brain would just go crazy. Couldn't wait. It's like when you love something, you want to be around it, you want to see it, you want to feel it, you want to be close. And I just think using that word around a food, if you're trying to create peace with it, is not helpful. So at least tone it down a little bit. I like potato chips. That's what I would say to you now. I still like them. I don't love them, but I do like them. And I still think they taste good. And I still eat them. But mindfully, I can eat them until I'm through enjoying them. And I can stop. I feel like I control the potato chips. The potato chips don't control me. And with Michelle, it was chocolate, because she would eat it, but she never felt like, she thought like something terrible was going to happen every time she ate it. And she always felt terrible when she ate it because she thought she couldn't control herself around it and she loved it, but she shouldn't be eating it. And once she started changing her mind and her tune, so to speak, through the coaching that we did around this food, we started working and practicing on eating chocolate. And by the end of our working together, and you'll hear this on the interview, you can go to drdebbutler.com/444. You can hear this. She said that she still liked chocolate, but she didn't use chocolate to make her feel better anymore. She learned that she could handle a feeling, a negative feeling, and not fill it with chocolate, which is what she learned she was doing some of the time. Because when we love something or when we think we can't do without it, we really want it when we feel bad. And the truth of the matter is that when you're feeling bad or negative emotion, it's better to learn how to feel it and know it won't kill you than it is to eat something that you think is going to make you feel better. That's all about emotional hunger. And she and I worked on that a lot. I work on that in my program when I work with my clients. But what I'm telling you right now is you can work on that right now just by how you talk to yourself about it and to know that it's not off limits and there's a way to practice eating it. And for now, all I want you to do is to, number one, think about how you want to think about it. Number two, eat it in a mindful way, which is bite by bite and stop the minute that you're through and just see what that's like for you. If you know that you can have it again, because that is really some of the things that Michelle did. And when she came back for the interview, number one, she was so excited because she felt like she could control chocolate and she knew that she could eat it and she still liked it. She didn't love it, but she did like it. But she knew who was running the show. It was not the chocolate, it was her. And that's what I want for you too, is creating this peace around any food. And usually it's the joy eating where you need to create the most amount of peace. And I want to tell you that I've created a new program that you're going to hear about that's very exciting to me because it's short and it's much, much more affordable. And you will probably get some of these concepts that I'm talking about without having to work with me for a long time. So if you're interested in that, you'll be hearing about it soon, or you can go to my website, drdebbutler.com, and you'll find out about it. And the name of my actual program is called How to Make Peace with Food. So that's what Michelle did. And the reason I'm talking the most about her is because I just finished working with her and we have a recent podcast where you can hear how she did it. But if that's something that you're looking for, peace with food usually starts with the foods that you say, I love. Now, you might just say to me, I love eating. A lot of people will say, I love food or I just love eating. And that's what my problem is. And I'm going to tell you something. You can enjoy eating, you can enjoy food, but you don't have to love it. And you have to put it in perspective about what is really enjoyable in life. And I think chocolate's very enjoyable, but there has to be more things that also are more enjoyable, which is a lot of the things that I work on is how to create joy without having to eat chocolate, but also how to feel a negative emotion without having to eat a food. Usually it's a joy food or a joy eat, but you're not using it for the right reason. You're not really using it to feel joy, to enjoy. You're using it to cover up something that you're feeling that doesn't feel good. That is when you don't want to eat it. And as Michelle said, if she knew that it was just an urge because she was feeling bad, she knew what to do with that. But she also knew that if that chocolate was there and she knew that she could enjoy it bite by bite, she would do that too. And she knew those options were always open to her. And it's the beginning of how she felt control over food. And that's what I want to offer you too. So be on the lookout for this new course that's coming up. It's shorter, it's more affordable. I've never done it before, and it's opening very, very soon. And of course, I would never end this interview. Well, I never ended my interview with Michelle without saying to you or her, no matter where you go or what you do or who you're with, please, please, please be very, very kind to yourself, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
If you're loving my podcast and you would like some more information to be able to follow along with, then please go to drdebbutler.com/change, and you can get a free copy of my companion book that goes with this podcast that I refer to in many different episodes. That is drdebbutler.com/change, CHANGE.